Boom. Say what? Don't stop what you're doing now. Got to make it real funky when you're doing what you're doing. Now get it. Say right now. Boom. Man, make it real funky down. Ow, get on down. Get on down now. Oh, shucks now. I think we get that thing in the groove now, y'all. Just warming this thing up a little bit for you now. You do. You got the book down. Ow. Say what? We gonna get to that, baby. We gonna give you that tonight. Everybody start calling this down now. Say what? Make that stuff feel funky now. What we talking about? That's what we talking about. You book it down now. What's the name of that dance you doing, baby? That's it. That fine sexy mama over there now. Say what? How y'all feel out there now? Y'all give it all right? All right now. That stuff, what you doing all night, all night? You got to keep that stuff, what you doing all night, all night? All right now. You got to make that stuff feel funky when you do it like you. Don't stop what you doing all night, all night when you do it, y'all. Say what now? Say what? Oh, I think we're waiting for the horn, sir, y'all. There you go. You ready for the horn? Say what now? Hey, horn, you ready to give him some? I think we ready to give some back. You ready to get a horn, some?
Y'all hear this music and I ain't just looking crazy bopping this silence.
Say what? I'll take that in the phone. Well, everybody turn to everybody. Say what? Got shaped out there, our own face on. You got to make that stuff in the
Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. I left a link in the chat for those of y'all coming in the building. Okay, we're going to review these fights. As you know, it's the new heavyweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk, a.k.a. the Joker. Should I be happy that AJ lost? What y'all think? Should I be happy? I am. And it's unfortunate because normally I would have went for AJ. AJ does one thing that I do not like. He's a good guy. He's a decent guy. I have nothing bad to say about him as a person. I got a lot to say about where he be moving in these boxing streets. So AJ spent the last 3-4 years avoiding Deontay Wilder. And I said before, it's because he's scared. Simple as that. He's scared. And I think as a heavyweight fighter, you should not be scared to fight any other heavyweight. You know, boxing is a grueling sport. If you're scared and you have fear, this is not the sport for you. But he's scared. So Deontay could never get his just due because they avoid him like the plague. He don't just avoid Deontay. He avoided Luis Ortiz. I mean, so he's making a habit out of avoiding people that he don't think that he can win. And he was hoarding those belts and getting in the way or presenting unrealistic barriers, realistically for him, but unrealistic in the sport of boxing, barriers for opponents to, even dare to dream. He's holding those belts hostage. And twice now, somebody that he probably thought that he could beat has come in and taken it up off him, exposing him yet again of his lack of greatness. They build him up like he's the second coming. He, he's he's the top dog. He's all that in a bag of chips. And you think about it, as they was talking during his fight, like when in the beginning, and they were saying stuff like he only has 24 fights. I was like, what? I don't pay too much attention to how many fights they had or whatever. You know, um, I overlook that sometimes. True enough, but I'm now trying to figure out what was the reasoning that he's going to say that can be convincingly true in most people's eyes. Why he was avoiding Deontay? Deontay got 40 something fights. By that number, Deontay is a more experienced fighter than him because he has more, bouts than he do. And so AJ, what was you waiting on? You gonna say, I wait till you get more experience. Then you hear Eddie Hearn back in the day talking about Deontay wasn't well known. Just everything you can throw out there, but the truth, which was he was scared, and they know if Deontay got in there with him, he probably wouldn't be holding them belts today. And they wanted to hold on to them belts. That's Eddie's cash cow. He makes the most money for Eddie. And now he done signed that extension or that contract that's locking him in with Eddie Hearn for the rest of his career. I mean, it's like a 10-year or something. It's pretty much the rest of his career. AJ is in his early 30s. But he got exposed. And I ain't mad at Usyk. Now, I like how Usyk said, or they said that Usyk said, that he fights for the glory. It ain't about the money to him. It ain't about, if it's not about the money, then you ain't got to worry about all this extracurricular stuff that fighters find themselves in, you know, caught up in the webs of their deceit, lying to the public because they scared or they trying to do this or they trying to do that. Usyk is a real warrior. He's like, he got the attitude like, let's get it. I don't care like about the money as much as I care about the glory. He sound like somebody who competes with his own self, which is good because if you do that, if you compete with your own self, you know what? You're gonna get better at what you do because you're gonna always be trying to do whatever it is you do better than how you did it the last time. That's what Usyk sounds like to me. And it was actually a good fight. It was a good little scrap. It was a good little card. Eddie should have promoted it better. Maybe more people would have watched it. He's going to say millions watch it, but that's because they didn't do it in America. And Eddie can bend the rule. He can lie to the public about how many people really watched it. The Zone wasn't that big of a splash over here. I'm not gonna say they didn't get any subscribers, but it wasn't as big as they thought it was gonna be. I did get it because I'm just a boxing head. I like to watch it. Uh, it's only like $20 a month. And when the Zone recently skedaddled out of America, I didn't cancel the subscription, so I got to see the fight. So it was a fight. It was a good fight. Usyk, he straight up outboxed Anthony Joshua. Period. He just outboxed him. He outclassed him. He feinted a lot. He moved around. He had angles. He came over the top. He was hitting him with that straight all night. Um, I did not. I apologize. I did not look up to see what the update is on his eye socket because it was rumored that Usyk might have broke his eye socket. And that shit is happening a lot here lately. Lisa Scott, what's up, Queen? What is popping? Did you see the fight? I'm just joking. I hope you watched it. It was a good one. The power has changed hands. We got a Ukraine in the house. He's a I can't say enough about Usyk. He did what he was supposed to do. He did what he was supposed to do. He got in there and he outclassed him. So it doesn't matter what you look like. We saw Anthony Joshua get outclassed by Andy Ruiz not that long ago. Andy made the mistake of, celebrating too much and not, knowing he got to run it back, but celebrating too much and came in that much more heavier, which of course Joshua learned what he did wrong and he corrected it. But if Andy had been in shape, if Andy could be in shape, that's a dude that's a sloppy dude, but he can box. Lisa says, "Girl, now you catch the highlights, huh, Lisa?" I was just joking when I said that to you. Hey, to all my Facebookers, do me a favor. Come into your YouTube studio. If you have Gmail, you got a YouTube studio. I always say that because I didn't even know I had one until I knew. But if you have Gmail, you have a YouTube studio. So come into your YouTube studio and look me up, Boxing Fans Talk TV, and come on into the live chat. And that way I can see you. But if you don't, shout outs to you on Facebook. Y'all are all welcome to call in. The numbers scrolling at the bottom of the screen. But let me turn to for TikTok. Let me turn to. So what I saw uh is I saw hesitation and fear in Joshua. I really did. Um he wasn't fighting with conviction either, or confidence. And that matters because it's a mental game. It's a mental game too, as well as a physical game. And if you coming in there seeming like you're not confident, your opponent gonna pick up on that. It's like blood in the water. He gonna pick up on that. You gotta have the conviction that carried it through. Regardless, like I said, leave it on the field, leave it in the ring. Anthony was not, performing that way that night. It was like a lot of hesitation. He was pawing at his jab, and I understand that's a good strategy because you're setting him up for that straight. But he wasn't giving the straight as much. He doesn't move off the line. He hardly moves. So Anthony Joshua is easy to get hit. Um, that night, I don't think he had the greatest of foot movements. There's a couple of rounds where Anthony hit Usyk, and you can tell he stung him. And if he'd have pressed on the gas, who knows where it would be? Because at one point I thought Anthony was coming back. I want to say like the sixth round or something. I thought he was coming back, and he was making Usyk fall back. So I know he gave him something. He had a little pop on his jabs or his hits, but he got winded. He got winded. And this is one of the smallest weights that Anthony Joshua ever fought at. I believe he came in at 240. But he got winded. How the hell you get winded? You fighting a guy who was a cruiserweight, which is not a heavyweight. For those of you who don't really watch boxing, a cruiserweight is under the heavyweight. It's like you got to be like 200 pounds between, I don't know the exact weight, but um, I think 200 is your limit or whatever. But he's in the heavyweight division, and we got a lot of big dudes in this division. You got Tyson Fury like 6'9", Deontay like 6'7", Anthony Joshua is 6'6", and he gave up his height. Now I know what he was trying to do, but it wasn't necessary. You know, Usyk is definitely an awkward fighter. I don't know if it was good strategy for him to give up his height with somebody like Usyk. Usyk was fainting, catching punches, slipping them, moving on angles, backing up, hitting them, going forward, sometimes hitting them. He was a complete fighter. And Anthony Joshua has problems with people who are complete fighters. He definitely has a problem. So the fight was good in the sense that the little guy, the underdog, showed up and showed out. He showed up and showed out. But What should we take away from this? Anthony Joshua was exposed. He was truly exposed. I was looking at that fight the whole time and saying to myself, if he fought Deontay Wilder like he was fighting Usyk, I think he'd have been out of there within a couple of rounds. He'd have been severely hurt. And I was like, why isn't he being aggressive? Because Usyk was being aggressive. So why did he match his aggression? I don't think either one of them could contend with Deontay Wilder. In fact, I can't think of one heavyweight that can contend with him, to include Tyson Fury. Because if Tyson Fury ain't cheating, then what he doing? You know? So, he didn't fight with the confidence, and that matters. And it's because Usyk took his heart right up out of there. And I can't be mad because you held the belts hostage. Somebody else need to get the belt, because when you have the belt, there's some tomfoolery going on. You're gonna hold it hostage. You're gonna avoid fighters, and nobody's ever gonna be able to progress in the heavyweight because you fighting tomato cans. You half the people that he fought, we wouldn't even really know who they are, but for him fighting them, and that's facts. Like some of the people he bring up, I'm like, who is that? Who is that? But that's what he do, all to avoid Joshua. I mean Deontay. This is what Joshua doing, all to avoid him. When he was contracted to fight Big Baby Miller, we got on Big Baby Miller for doing that extracurricular shit, getting popped dirty on the test. And we was like, how dumb can you be? You were standing to make $6 million or more. You walk away from that, you would have been a millionaire. But they dealt with him. They held them accountable, straight up. But I guess Big Baby looking at it like hell. Joshua got a built-in excuse why he can use extra shit too. But you know, for HIPAA, they're not gonna disclose why he gets to use what he used. But he's still using banned substance. He does that himself. And even with the banned substance, it didn't help him. Maybe he should have ran more. I don't know. I don't know what his strategy was, to be honest. But it's crazy. He looked like he looked. And, fighters that you least suspect. He was Drew Titan in the building was popping king. Joshua, in his quest to avoid certain fighters, he got himself hemmed up yet again. He was trying to avoid Deontay when he tried to fight Big Baby. And then Big Baby fell through. So he picked Andy Ruiz. Probably looking at fat, sloppy, nasty Andy Ruiz, thinking, this gonna be an easy win. I conquered America. And then Andy embarrassed you. Why? Because Andy might be fat and he might be sloppy, but he's more of a boxer than AJ. AJ was getting hits with straight lefts. Let me tell you something I thought that Usyk did beautifully in that fight. Usyk had great foot movement. And not that he was moving around and all that, like not like that. Positioning of his feet. Drew Titan said AJ the Golden Goose lost all bad for the heavyweight division. You want payday. You want payday. Gone. Exactly. AJ has been fighting scared, Drew. He's been scared. And like I said, I don't have nothing against his the way he is outside the ring. I'm sure he's a decent man. But he's scared. And that's crazy. We talking about the heavyweight division. I saw fear in his eyes this fight. He is not sure of himself. He's not the great boxer like he's exposed. Everybody who can really box, get him up out of there. And he's scared of Deontay's power. He won't fight Luis Ortiz because that's a hell of a boxer right there. And as we see, if you're a very good boxer, you can beat AJ. In shape street fighter was popping king. Sorry. um, Drew said AJ never been the same after. Yeah, he never. I don't think he recuperated. I think once it set in, I think on that fight, one of them fight. Oh, he said he came out with anxiety attacks. Now listen, I used to laugh, not not in a bad way, but I used to laugh at people who had panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I'm like, we just you could be with somebody and they just standing right there. You can be looking at some, and I know people who will go into panic attacks, and I'm like, what the hell? What's wrong with them? Like, why you ain't even breathing hard? You ain't even, why you having a panic attack all of a sudden? Until you actually have one, and you won't. I think most people won't understand. So if AJ is saying he came into that fight with an anxiety attack, he still should have kept it to himself. This boxing, no excuses. You dropped the ball, but when he said that, I was like, oh, because panic attack, but it'll make you like hype, like I had 3 in my whole life, and that shit ain't funny. I can laugh right now, but I pray to God that never happened again. I don't know what made me have it, and I don't care, I've been searching for Bobby Fischer ever since. What is it that made me have a panic attack? Because that could take you out of your game big time, And that's what AJ blamed the Andy Ruiz loss. Now, what he gonna blame this one on? That 12th round. If Andy Ruiz would have handled him like that the round before, or if they had 2 minutes left on the time when he was against the rope, he was spent. He had nothing left. Like his life, to me, was in danger when he was on them ropes. Drew Titan said, "Boxing fans talk TV. You had a panic attack for it." Yes, yes, Drew. I don't know where it came from. Why? I mean, I have no idea to this day why it happened. But I had got so nervous that was going to be my future going forward. I've asked my doctor for some anxiety pills. Like, when I be telling y'all I'm going to Vegas, these are the worries that I worry about: getting on that plane, you know, and flying out. I mean, I don't know if it's in conjunction with high blood pressure or something, because I have that too. I'm a certain age, and as I got, well, for me, mine came in a different way. But the point is, I'm at that age now where like that matters, and then I worry about this flight. So I do be trying to get in shape. I'm slowly losing weight. I'm slowly getting better, because I know the more weight I lose, the better I will be. But let me tell you, you don't want a panic attack. It is the most vulnerable thing you could ever go through, because you don't know what's going to happen. You be damn near delirious. The whole time I'm having this panic attack, I'm saying, I know what the first time I had it, I was flying. I was flying, and I caught one like the middle of the flight, and I had an hour left on the flight. You scared of flying? No, I'm not really. Well, I don't per se like flying, but I'm not scared of it. I had to fly a lot when I was in the military, so I can get on the plane. I definitely wouldn't make a long drive if flying is easier, but I'm scared of panic attacks, because when I caught one in the air, I know that there's marshals on the plane, and when you start acting the donkey on the plane, they're gonna get at you. So I'm sitting back there like sweating, moving my legs. I'm flying with my daughter. I'm talking to myself. I'm doing everything to calm, and I could not calm down. And I had a connected flight to fly me all the way back home, but I said fuck that. I took they got these shuttles. I paid for a shuttle. I know my daughter was probably like, God damn, because it was an issue. Like I couldn't calm down. I was sweating, and I don't know why. And then the other 2 times I was in the hospital, I just had like minor surgery, and that night went full blown panic attack, and the nurse won't paying me no attention. I wound up leaving that bitch. They were like, "You can't leave. Watch me. I'm out of here," because I was delirious. I could not stay there. So when Joshua complained of that, I almost felt sorry for him, because I said I'll never laugh at nobody or take light of anybody having a panic attack or an anxiety attack ever again. That's why I smoke my shit, because that keeps you relaxed. That shit work for that. PGH Big Dog, salute. Boxing Fan Talk TV, salute to you, King. Drew, are you a claustrophobic? No, I'm not. That's the thing, Drew. I didn't have any of these. I didn't have none of these issues. I done been on ships, um, in like berthing areas, which we call like where our beds are. You working with limited space. I'm not claustrophobic. I think my biggest phobia is I don't like anything in access, or I don't like things that I can't explain. So if you if I was in the field with millions of rocks, little pebbles like all around me, I would get nervous. Or like if I'm around, it depends on the setting. I don't. That's why I don't go to concerts no more. I should have known this because when I was young, I didn't like to be around a whole lot of people. I don't like a whole lot of anything around me. I could be in the middle of a big ass parking lot with a million cars. I will start getting nervous. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't stop me from doing whatever it is I got to do. Whatever phobia I got, I still power through. G Tidy said salute King, and PGH Big Dog said respect. Yeah, so I felt a love for Anthony. I was like, that could happen. Because if it don't happen to you, you probably don't have a good understanding. But if it ever happened to you, then you would be like, okay, I give him that. But that was exposure number one. Then this fight this past weekend, exposure number two. Anthony Joshua is just not that great of a boxer. And they put him on top of the pedestal for years and try to act like he was just the best thing since sliced bread. And he wasn't. He never was. PGA's Big Dog said AJ has no dog in him. Show don't have none. He too nice for this boxing. I think he believes, PG Big Dog. I think he believes that. I think even he believes that he don't supposed to be there. That's what I think. I think he's insecure when it comes to that ring because we could think of two fighters he definitely won't never want to fight. And then he's trying to age them out. That's not gonna work. I don't see what he want his legacy to be. If it was just about making money, you did the damn thing because he definitely made money in his career and being popular. He will always be some kind of celebrity over there in his country. That's cool. But this boxing and this heavyweight, and you ain't got no dog in you, and you let this guy who came up from cruiserweight, a little guy, handle you like that. How tall was Usyk? Like 6 foot? He wasn't that tall. And I knew AJ was in trouble, and it was early on because Usyk hurt him early on. And I knew he was in trouble because AJ was trying way too hard. It wasn't like a coincidence or a mishap when AJ grabbed him around his head and was throwing punches up. You said Usyk is 6'3". Anthony had all the advantages in that fight. And Anthony is 6'6". Yep. He had all the advantage and he was grabbing it. It's almost like he was leaning on him or holding on and then trying to come up with the uppercut. And Usyk won't having it. He feinted, he moved, he showed him different looks. He fought going backwards, he fought going forward. He was throwing the overhand, he was doing the straight left all night. Hey Drew, I didn't look to check, and I apologize to y'all, but what was the deal? What was the deal about his eye socket? Is it true that he has a damaged eye socket? Because if he do, then it's like, where do we go forward? Because how it should be, y'all, is that, they fight. AJ lost. Whoever won that fight should fight the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. But if AJ would have won, to me, I was saying that'll never happen. This man has said for years, talking about Deontay Wilder, that he wants to be undisputed. And AJ was hoarding them belts and avoiding him. And to me, I didn't think that was fair. I think that was conduct unbecoming a heavyweight champion. Drew Titan said AJ was trying to dirty box with the hole behind the head. Yeah, he was. Cause he was tired quick too. And I'm telling you, why didn't they say the ropes held him up? I understand that he wasn't at the bottom rope leaning on that. I understand that he wasn't, in between the ropes. But that motherfucker was definitely laying down on that mother. He was laying back on that joint. In rope a dope, you can't do that no more. Like he was rope a dope without the swinging or the blocking. He was that was not a strategy. He was spent. He was tired. And he walked over there like his whole chest was burning. He sat down like shit, I just like if he just ran 10 miles full speed. He was hurting. And I don't know if his eyes was hurting that bad, but y'all notice how he didn't get up out that chair for a long time. And somebody, even one of the announcers said, you got to be careful when you go back to that corner because you don't want to look like you hurting and you spent or whatever because it'll help the judge make that final conclusion on maybe the last round. AJ lost that round, period. And when they say he tripped, he didn't trip because I would not say that I saw no dirty tactics from Usyk. I saw clean boxing. I saw him box, outclass AJ. And remember when he hit him hard and he was falling back and it was like their feet got tangled up? No, AJ was falling back. If AJ stood his ground or tried to move and do angles, he wasn't even trying to move that way. That's why I said Usyk, the one thing he did beautiful is his feet was always in position. And I loved it. You said it's not broken as far as I know. Cool. Well, he can sit down and wait now. Cause he ain't the man no more. He ain't got the belts. But don't y'all think like I don't think that was a slip when he almost got knocked down by Usyk. I think that Usyk feet was in a better position. AJ went to falling back, and that's how he made the contact with his feet. But I don't think it was just like, oh, they got tangled up. AJ was gas in the championship round. Yes, he was. And he was, to me, he was gas before that. I think Usyk let him know in the beginning of the fight, this ain't what you want. I don't know what punch, but like I said, when I look at him, I saw hesitation, all that pawing. I can see that maybe 1 or 2 rounds. He was doing that all night, all that pawing. But the crazy part for me is that at one point, and I want to say it was around the 6th round or maybe 5th, maybe 7th, AJ hit him and stung him. Because Usyk started going back. And AJ was like, yeah, nigga, yeah, let's get it. And I was like, here you go. But like I said, if AJ would have won, Deontay would have never have an opportunity. Like I can almost guarantee that he was never gonna have an opportunity to become undisputed because AJ was gonna hoard them belts. But now that Usyk won, and Usyk's the way he talk is like, look, I don't do it for the money. It ain't about the money for me. Let's get it. I'm a warrior. I'm putting my stank on it, but basically that's what he said. So I was like, whoa, 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 yes, go on in there and get in there with the champ. That is Deontay Wilder. Um, Usyk moved and kept AJ going in circles from the jump to the end. He showed did. He showed did. AJ just he wasn't there. He wasn't there. I think AJ has fulfilled his destiny or fulfilled what he wanted to do in boxing. I don't know why he signed this long contract with Eddie Hearn, but if AJ is acting like he looking for an exit at this point, Eddie gonna fix that ass. Eddie gonna make sure he be fighting all the people that he been running from. It's not gonna be a happy contract. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if you sign with a promoter, can you get out that by just retiring? Like, can like if you decide that I don't want to box anymore, can the promoter hold you accountable? Like, can Eddie, sue Joshua or something? I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I think Joshua has fulfilled his destiny. Kudos to him for being an Olympic gold medal medalist and having the success that he has. Like I said, he seemed like a decent guy. So I don't have a bone to pick with him. The only bone I have is the avoidance that he did when it came to certain fighters like Deontay and Luis Ortiz. And truth be told, he probably was avoiding. He would have loved to avoid Tyson Fury. I don't give Tyson Fury no kind of credence, none. But he's a big dude up in there, and AJ just won't fight people. He know, and it's crazy. Like I don't even know how you be a boxer if you had those kind of doubts in your mind. Like that's dangerous. Cause the AJ that was in that 12th round, I thought Usyk was gonna hit his ass so hard and just fly his ass right up out the ring. He too big anyway. He leaning on the ropes. I thought the ropes was gonna come down. That's how bad he was leaning on him. And I don't know why the ref. I know it's to his discretion, but I don't know why the ref didn't count him. Do an 8 count right there because he was done. He was spent. But shout outs to Usyk for being the champ and warrior that he was. I'm not mad at his win. The only way that Usyk can make me upset is if he start getting on that same old crap that Joshua been on, avoiding fighters, trying to hoard the belts and all this stuff. That's when I would get upset. Um, I know a lot of people is probably thinking, let me hurry up and get at Usyk. I know a lot of them heavyweights think that they probably can beat him, but he's an awkward fighter. He's an awkward fighter, and he might not be as easy as it looked. And he puts pressure on you. But if you hurt him, he will back up. I seen that because AJ did hurt him for a hot second, just a second. But in the end of the day, Joshua, you are exposed. You cannot do nothing with real fighters, real boxers. I say. I ain't gonna call you no fake fighter because you do get in the ring, but you cannot handle no real boxer, a complete boxer. That ain't your forte. So, and you have some like Big Baby Anderson. He's a real boxer. He's a real boxer. I believe he can handle Joshua. I believe he can handle Joshua. I know, not believe, I know Deontay can handle him, and I know Luis Ortiz can. And AJ don't want none of that smoke. None. So he's supposed to have lost. And I did celebrate. I celebrate because now it's like it's opening now. These other fighters can pursue their dreams and stop having this thing hoarded by Matchroom and AJ. You know, just hoarding the goddamn belts. They did that. They successfully did that for at least 3 years. So that reign is over. Let me say the things again with Usyk that he fainted. He had a lot of movement. He gave many different looks. He fought on angles, and he could fight going backwards. He could fight going forward. Whoever's fighting him next, y'all better be ready. That dude is a warrior, and you seen as much. They were both okay with standing in the middle of the ring, and until the 12th round, neither one of them was really on the ropes. So I say shout outs to them. Um, Joshua probably tried to make a stand, Custer's last stand. He tried to make a stand, but it was too much for him, you know. And the reason why I say he tried because he did stand in the middle of the ring most of the time. He wasn't trying to lean on the ropes. But like I said, I saw early on that was too much. It's almost like if I didn't know no better, I would say he quit. What y'all think? If I didn't know no better, I say he quit in the beginning. And he got a second win towards the middle, hit him a couple of times. All he had to do is press on the gas. And I think he could have dealt with Usyk. But I think the quit was in him from it was apparent to me right there in the beginning. The fact that how you so tired. Like that's the shit I didn't understand. And I honestly thought that England was gonna serve him up. like like do him a solid. Like when he was gonna win regardless, especially if he made it to the 12th round. I just knew in my heart that England was gonna say Joshua won, and then I was gonna be like, man, this is why I don't like this shit. But they didn't. They didn't do it to my surprise. So shout outs to them for being fair. Uh so the question after seeing all that is, when is Deontay gonna get his chance to go for those other three belts? I know we gotta get past Fury. I already say that's a done deal. I already know the champ gonna win. But I'm talking Deontay, that is. But when is Deontay gonna get his shot? Reggie Bell in the building was popping king. So that's the question that I leave with. And somebody in the article was saying, with all these rematch clauses, that's why we ain't getting the good fights. That's not it. We're not getting a lot of good fights because people are ducking and they're hiding and they're cheating. It has nothing to do with rematches. That's like a commonality to have in your contract, a common thing to have a rematch clause. But why this guy put in the article that this is probably why we don't get to see the best fighting the best. No, if you take it from the champion, you should be cool with running it back. Ain't no problems. We don't have a problem with running nothing back. You know what I'm saying? We got a problem with people ducking and making up excuses. And you sit up there and you get on your bicycle and you be running from somebody and you ran right into another motherfucking wall. That's twice, AJ. So stop avoiding the inevitable. That's all you gotta do and move forward. So I am happy that he don't got the belts. Now we can open this shit up and really get some fights. We'll see what it do. But congratulations to the Joker, Alexander Usyk, for a great performance on Saturday night. Um, Moving on, they had a co-main event, and it's a guy named Okoli or whatever. And I'm listening to the commentating about him. They were saying when this dude was 13 years old that he weighed approximately like 270 or 260. That's a big motherfucker at 13. Good grief. But he was fighting somebody named Prosovic. Prosovic. I hope I said that right. Prosovic. And that guy Prosovic didn't even, to me, he looked like more like a light heavyweight. Now, they big Okoli up. He's from England, and that's their next biggest star. He probably do hit hard. I don't know. From what I've seen of him, I can't really say that just yet. But what I will say is he's kind of awkward. And in my opinion, he might want to stay at the cruiserweight because they were talking like he eventually want to move up to the heavyweight. He want to hurry up and become undisputed in the cruiserweight and then move up to the heavyweight. You might not want to come up to the heavyweight. Like I said, if he has power, I couldn't really assess that because the guy he looked like he was fighting looked like a little guy anyway, little smaller than him. He looks more like a light heavyweight. And that guy, he wasn't spectacular or anything from the jump. And they teased him about the fact that he was offered step aside money. Like he should have took the step aside. Maybe he should have. But he dared to dream. He got in there, and Okoli was too much for him. Okoli didn't really even break a sweat. That punch in the gut coming from the side, oh my God. Yeah, as soon as he swung it, I was like, that dude ain't getting up. If it connects, he ain't getting up. And he didn't. He hurt him. But he's awkward, dude. It's like I the footing, the movement, the way he even hold his arms and swing, he's awkward. And not in a good way. Not awkward like, oh, he's gonna give somebody problem. Awkward like he can get his ass knocked the fuck out. I'm thinking of I'm not even gonna include Deontay in this one. If that dude Okoli come up to heavyweight, I can think of quite a few heavyweights that'll knock his ass out. He should not fight like that. If he was fighting Chris Arreola would knock his ass out, in my opinion. Okolie might have that thunder though. He might have it. I couldn't tell. But yeah, I don't think he should move up to heavyweight. He gonna get hurt. He gonna get seriously hurt. But that's what they saying he's trying to do. Um, uh, they said like he's a heavyweight in waiting. I think that's how they said it, like a bride in waiting, or something in waiting, a king in waiting. Like he's on the precipice of becoming a heavyweight. And my advice, not that he asked me, is now stay where you at, dude, or go to light heavyweight. Do your best to lose the weight. You ain't ready for prime time, because them heavy hitters up there in the heavyweight division, dude, you'll get seriously hurt. Unless, like I said, he carrying that thunder in his hand. I couldn't tell. He doesn't look clean with his fighting. He doesn't, it's not something I would want to pay to see. He's not exciting. He's not an exciting fighter. But they gonna build him up. That's the next thing coming. I'm sure they got their replacements set aside waiting, when Joshua fall off. And I think Joshua is falling off now. You let Usyk, which we heard of, but not really. He wasn't prime time. Andy Ruiz wasn't prime time. In fact, I think Andy Ruiz had been dropped from Top Rank recently before they had their fight. And you let these two guys piece you up and knock you off your throne. Mm, yeah, Eddie Hearn would love to have somebody like Deontay. And Eddie, the reason why you didn't promote these fights that good is because you was worried about everybody else fight. You was worried about everybody else fight but your own. Then going back to Okolie, he's not a polished fighter. You know, he watched his opponent, but his opponent wasn't that great neither. Um, but that's all I can say about that. That was a quick knockout. He did hit him with a punch he didn't see. He should have known. Dude was off balance, and he caught him. That punch hurt. I know. You had to. Then you had Marku versus Prodan. Now they gave it to Marku. I don't know why. Maybe they it sound like they wanted to give it to him. They was hyping him up and making a big to do out of him before the bell even rung. You know what I'm saying? But I actually gave it to Prodan or whatever his name is, because dude was aggressive the whole time, and it was effective aggressiveness. And they both of them gave as much as they took. So either it could have been a draw to me, but I edged Prodan out because, like I said, he was more effective. He had more pop scene like in his punch. He seemed like he was dominating and like he took the dude's heart. The other dude, I ain't gonna say he was totally in survival mode. I guess he's a ex mixed martial artist fighter. I don't know if he was in MMA, but they say he used to do kickboxing or whatever. For to come from that background, I say he did pretty well. He probably looked better than most of those type fighters who come into boxing. This guy, um, Marku, he looked better to me than all the other previous UFC fighters that I've seen that try to box. He was making a miss. He had some moves, and he looked like he was not a complete fighter, but he had the basic fundamentals down. But I still gave the fight to Prodan. I don't know how many rounds or whatever, but I just felt like Prodan edged them out. But they both were giving and taking. So it's hard to call that fight. Reggie Bell said, Drew, Ali used to do that head grab, and I don't call it dirty, but trying to rest and get a little shot if possible. Yeah, Reggie, Ali, that was kind of dirty. But Ali did rope a dope. Ali did a lot of stuff that he got away with these fighters that they can't do. But when you grab somebody's head and you pulling it down, you can tire them out more. It kind of it does something to you. Like it'll throw your rhythm off. It'll tire you out. You're bringing them down. You might as well be choking. You might as well put your arms around them and lift up or something. Cause I mean, you bring them down. You're you're stopping their flow in a sense. And the referee warned him a couple of times. AJ did it because he was tired. Ali did it out of strategy, I believe, you know. But yeah, back then he could do that. They since then try to correct that in boxing, whereas you can't do that. But back to Marcoux and Prodan, that was a good little scrap though. That was a good little scrap. I wasn't bored or anything with that fight. It was pretty cool because they both was given and taken. So, like I said, I had Prodan. I'm not mad at the decision because it was probably very close. It was probably really close. Um, then you had the Smith versus Castillo fight. There's all kinds of shit wrong in that one. Let me tell you, Castillo should never have been in that ring. You can tell just by looking at him, he didn't belong there. And that guy Smith, it ain't like he was spectacular. It ain't like he did a whole lot of great things. He was better than Castillo. Castillo looked like he goes to the boxing gym like 2, 3 times a week, every other week or something. And then they probably was like, look, man, we got an opportunity to get on this car. You want to get on it? Well, how much they paying? Paying like 50,000. I don't know the exact amount that he got paid. And he was like, shit, that's some quick money. I'll take it. Probably almost lost his life. Shout out to him. I hope he's doing well. But they pretty much had to like carry him out in a sense. Um, he was hurt. He was seriously hurt. And Smith to me didn't do nothing that spectacular. So I say to myself, if he was in there with a real monster, what the fuck would have happened? Dude, you could tell by the way his body looked, he wasn't conditioned at all. Not for that. L Dub in the building was Poppy King. Castillo was not in good shape. He was not conditioned. Smith ain't all that. I don't even know if Smith got a lot of pop, but Smith can box better than him. Like you could tell he learned some things. He learned a thing or two. But he hit him and knocked him out. Dude was shaking. I was like, what the hell? Nigga was shaking. It was as bad as when Charlo hit Rosario in the stomach and he was, convulsing like that. Like dude was shaking. His legs was like, Lord have mercy. He shouldn't have been in there. I don't know who sanctioned that fight, but then it's over there. So maybe they don't care. But just one look at that guy, he ain't supposed to be in there. Like I said, they should have been ashamed of themselves and letting that guy in there. Because like I hope that nothing more serious has happened to him. But if it did, uh, they gotta start looking into that, or stop putting people in that ain't ready for prime time like that. And that was just like a gap filler or something. And y'all could have cost the dude his life. And like I said, Smith he ain't no devastating fighter or no devastating puncher, but he knocked him out because he had more fundamental skills. So all I can do is pray for that guy. That was a travesty right there. Just to even watch it. Moving on to Campbell Hatton. What can I say about this dude? Okay. So when I first watched the fight, I said Martinez beat him. I said, oh shit, they didn't rob Martinez. But then I went back and watched it. And I agree with the decision. Uh Campbell Hatton is reminiscent of his father, Ricky Hatton. He comes forward, he's aggressive. He put some stank on them punches. Do he got knockout power like his dad? That remains to be seen. I'm definitely gonna watch this guy because you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for him out of the blue, just start knocking motherfuckers out. Because if he ain't got it right now, how the fuck he gonna have that later? That's what I'm saying. And y'all know my motto: once a cheater, always a cheater. Now, Ricky Hatton has never been caught cheating, so let me start by saying that. But why do I call him a cheater? Because wasn't he one of the guys in the corner with Tyson Fury helping him cheat with them gloves? Wasn't he a part of that? And here's the thing, people: if you're not about to cheat, if you're not about that life, nothing and no one will make you be about that life. You are not even going to try to be associated with people who do that, you know, because that ain't your thing. The fact that he tried to move his hands through the glove, he was doing something, pulling them up or down. I forgot what it was. He did something in that corner that was nefarious. And I said, damn, if you did that for him, you been doing that. Because that's just something you will not gravitate toward. Either you about it or you're not. You can be naive to it, and then you have that moment where you can do it or you don't. And I believe that can happen to folks. But I don't believe that you will do a whole career and an exciting career like Ricky Hadden had and then do that. Plus, Ricky Hadden is a big is a big dude. He used to blow up between fights all the time, which is not good. He never changed that about himself. That's why he fell off and he drinks and all this stuff. But regardless of the fact that he drank, he could be as much as 200 pounds and going back down to 147. Your body will forgive you in the first 4 or 5 years of your 20s. After that, your body said, hell to the no. You're not going to do me like that, player. I'm going to pay you back for that shit. But Ricky Hadden could do it with the greatest of ease. Y'all remember that? He could lose that weight. So I don't even, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't even remember Ricky Hadden ever having a weight issue when it came to the scale when he got ready for any of his fights. But, what was exciting about Ricky is that he came forward, he hit you very hard, and he hit you hard because he took the soul out of people, right? His son looks like he fights the same way. His son looks like he's in great shape. He kept coming forward. He was getting hit. I think what made people feel like, and what made me actually, I'm gonna speak on myself, feel like that Martinez won the first time is because the ease in which Martinez hit him, the uppercuts of it all. At what point after the second or third uppercut are you gonna fucking have an answer for that? Make some kind of adjustment. Campbell hadn't did not make adjustments when it came to that because he was getting caught with that all night. And then he has a problem and he needs to fix this. He bends his head down all the way. I understand tuck your chin in like that. I get that. I don't get bending your head all the way down. It's almost like somebody closing their eyes when they about to get hit. You can't do that. If that's what you're gonna do, boxing is not for you. Cause when you bending the head down, somehow or another, it's a wide girth between them two hands. That's how that dude was uppercutting him. And the dude won't even all that his damn self. That dude, what make it crazy is they act like that guy was, spectacular. He wasn't. He had to be like a C fighter for them to even pick him. I'm sure he was a C fighter. But here's the thing: he was a professional for 7 years, and he's older than Campbell Hadden, and that was a hard fight for him too. Because truth be told, I thought Campbell was gonna get him out of there in them first 2 rounds, and Campbell hits like he hitting hard, and he doesn't back down. He come forward. So now what we do know about Campbell is that he could take a punch. We do know that because he was eating them shits, and he kept coming forward. But had he been in there with somebody, let's say like a Tank Davis, he'd have been slept with the quickness, all the way gone. Taking them punches like that, he'd have been knocked the fuck out, probably through the ring. But Martinez ain't had that to put on it neither. He ain't had that kind of crack power to put on him, even though he was piecing him up. Martinez did well in the last 2 rounds. Them first 2 rounds, I definitely gave it to Hadden, and then maybe the third or fourth kind of gave it to Hadden. But then them last 2 rounds were convincingly Martinez. because he couldn't miss. He could not miss hitting that boy. And Ricky, I mean, I keep calling him Ricky because they look just alike, don't they? Ricky, you could never deny him. That is you, the daddy, you, the pappy, spitting image of his daddy, built like him, pale like him, punch like him, come forward at you like him. All he got to do is go fix some things, and he feel like he did win the fight. Talking about Haddon, he said, "Shit, I won. I mean, it won't my best performance. You guys haven't seen my best, but he felt like he won. I ain't mad at him. I just hope that he cleaned up some of those stupid mistakes that he be making. It's not that Martinez was just that great. It's that Campbell was making a lot of unnecessary mistakes. And Martinez, he seemed to capitalize on them, as he should. If you're gonna leave yourself open, if you're gonna bring your head all the way down, you ain't gonna see them uppercuts coming. You know, and he's under Campbell is under the impression that, hey, I'm gonna just take some punches, but I'm gonna give mine. We're gonna see if you can make it through mine. He need to stop that and falling forward with his head. He need to stop that shit for real, because he gonna meet the right one, and he gonna be like, I don't want to box no more. And did y'all know that Campbell Haddon, he doesn't have an extensive amateur career. So it's like, did he get into boxing late? Is he doing it just for his dad? Because it's the family business. His uncle trains him, not his dad. His dad probably get on his nerves. You know what I'm saying? But they're handling him like kind of like what they doing with Nico Ali Walsh. Nico Ali know a couple of things, but he's not spectacular. But there's always room to grow. They young. Campbell is 20 years old. He got room to grow. But if next year come around and he just knocking motherfuckers out like his dad, mm-mm. Cause I know y'all say that when they young like that they get their man strength around mid-20s or something. So he will gain some extra power. But even with that, I don't think it's gonna be like on the level that his dad was. But now that his dad did what he did for Tyson Fury, I'm thinking about his dad career like, I wonder. I wonder. And like I said, I can't assess cheaters. The only thing I can say, you was a hella fire cheater. That's all I can say. So he obviously don't have the power yet, and and they're gonna cheat him with kid gloves. Because they want to see him successful, and they don't want to derail him beforehand. But they got to get out the way and let these fighters be what they're gonna be. If your son lost, he lost. If your son win, he win. I'm not mad at that decision. It could have been a draw, and I'm gonna edge it to Haddon because he was the aggressor. He needs to work on covering up better. He also needs to work on not smothering his punches, because it's not like it was smothering like this. It was like he's throwing it, but he don't got the distance. He don't got that damn pad or the timing. If he work on his timing, his distance, and in his head position, like don't square up. He did that a couple of times too. But just work on, how he hold his head. He might be something. He actually might got something, you know. But those was the fights. And like I said, it left me saying, hey, is Deontay is he any more closer to getting the world, becoming an undisputed champion now than he was maybe a few months ago? That's my question. Is it coming? Is it around the corner? Is Usyk said, I want to go home. He said, I've been fighting for the better part of this year. And I miss my wife. It was him and his wife's anniversary that night. So congratulations to that family. And he said, I want to go home and spend time with my wife and watch, my children play and all that. Great. I have no issues with that. No, no problems with that. As he should. If he been training since January, he should. That should be on the agenda. I haven't seen if Deontay reached out, but I'm sure Deontay would do the same thing he did with Andy Ruiz. Congratulations, champ. You know, Deontay is a decent dude. They are decent dudes. What Usyk is. Joshua's a decent dude. He just fights scared. He's just a scaredy cat. And maybe boxing, he gotta hang it up. He did a lot. You know, you got your accolades, but this ain't for you no more. If I don't, I don't per se want to see another fight where you can see it in his face, because Ruiz and Usyk are not top tier fighters to me. Not in the heavyweight. They're not top tier fighters. And for Joshua to have a problem with them two, of all people to have a problem with, and then everybody he fights is like no name people until we don't even know them until he fights them. I never heard of Pulev and some of these people that he fought until he fought them. So I'm just saying, I was happy about the fight. Uh, I wasn't pressed for it, but like I said, I was able to watch it, and I was happy. I like the cards. I like what I saw. It was okay. It wasn't nothing spectacular. It didn't make me jump out my seat. The only time I jumped up and holler is when Joshua was on them damn ropes in the 12th round. Also, when old boy knocked dude out. Why his name escaping me? But when he knocked, when all the knockouts, when Okoli knocked his opponent out, uh, when Smith knocked his opponent out, that was scary, dude. I never seen nobody shake like that. So it was exciting, and Smith handled himself like a gentleman and a champion. He didn't gloat, he didn't jump up down. Everybody was concerned about this guy, but in the future, I hope and pray y'all don't just let no novice get in there with real boxers, because that dude, he looked like a novice to me. But anywho, yes, I was happy that Joshua lost, as he should, and here's to him not getting the belts back. even if even if the possibility that Usyk would go to Ukraine and just barricade itself there and do the same thing. I felt like those belts had to change hands. And now that they have, they supposed to be able to run it back. I haven't heard or seen anything that tells me for sure that that's what Joshua want to do. But you know what? Hey, it was a good little scrap. I don't have no update information on Teofimo. I heard that they was gonna move it yet again. Triller need, you know what? Triller could have put that fight on his Jake Paul fight. He could have put it on. They could have put it on the September 11th fight. Just throw that fight on some kind of card, because this is getting ridiculous at this point. It's getting ridiculous. So I personally feel just hurry up and have the goddamn fight, because at this point, and I'm a TL fan, but I'm not pressed. I'm just beginning to be not pressed. I can't take it. Like all this moving around. And I can't put it on T.O. and I can't put it on George Cambosa, because they're not the ones interested in moving the fight. They're not going to Triller and saying, hey, can you move the fight again? Can you move it to the. It's Triller keep doing it. It's bad business. Don't do that. You take a loss. You take a loss. You already lost. You already lost long before y'all moved the date. You lost. You know what I'm saying? Stop worrying. If you was worried about people buying the fight, why didn't you put it on Jake Paul's card? It would have surely made you money. Or even this last Triller event, September 11th, it would have surely made you some money. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Y'all should know better. Y'all should know better, but don't move the fight. Let it go down. Let it get it out the way. And the hint to the wise should be sufficient. You got a lot of good cards coming up. Throw their ass on that. If T.O. don't become a headliner, that's their problem. We don't give a fuck. Y'all made it to the point that we honestly don't give a fuck. And then T.O., you gonna sign an extension with Bob. You already know how this dude get down. You gonna sign an extension with somebody who don't even want to pay you? Come on now, y'all. You know you are becoming a boring fighter because you're not reliable. Your credibility is on the line at this point for me, and I always was, standing in your corner. I won't tripping on all the stuff that you did, but this shit right here is messing up your brand. So either fight them, y'all do something. It's like I don't even care. We got Deontay coming up on the 9th. That's gonna be a good card. And then we turn around, got October 23rd with Shakur Stevens and Cool Step. Not Shakur Stevens and Jamel Herring. And the Cool Step fight was moved to November. You got Terrence and Bud in November. You got Canelo, and I'm hyped for it because of Caleb Plant. We got some good fights coming up. If it's all that Triller, throw their ass on one of the cards. Can't miss. Throw their ass on Deontay card. That would be good too. That would be a bonus. But anywho, that's all I have for y'all today. Unless y'all want to call in and chop it up, the phone line's been open. Anybody want to call in and make sure it's working? Yeah, they working. Y'all want to call in and chop it up? Or y'all, I put the what you call them in the chat. I put the let me put it back in there before I say sorry, Nara. All in all, cool fight, cool weekend. I can't wait to Hunted. That's gonna be an even better weekend. And I'm gonna be back that Monday morning, that Monday evening with bells and whistles on. That's gonna be a hella fire weekend. I can't wait. I put the link in the chat if y'all want to beam in and holler at your girl, whatever. But otherwise, that was it. That's all. Review of the fights. We got a new champion. We should all be happy. He purported himself well. You know, he's a decent person. He say what he say and he mean what he say. You know, you can't ask for nothing more than that. That man cannot be persuaded and all that by money. Like, money doesn't drive him. It's the glory of it all. I love it because that means we're going to get some great fights. But anywho, that's it. Anybody got anything that they want to call and get off their chest? Otherwise, I'm going to bid you adieu. See you tomorrow. Thanks for being with me today. Remember, Facebookers, shout out to all my Facebookers. Remember, you guys can come into the YouTube studio and get involved with the chat. And I know I don't see you, but I do check on you after I get off. But I want to say shout out to all of y'all on Facebook world who do pull up my video and look at it. I appreciate it so much. I would love to see you in the chat, though. I would love to see that you call in. And even from Facebook, you can call in. And then, you know, we can still get you in the studio that way. Anywho, until I see y'all tomorrow, when you know better, you do better. Peace.